people already in the workplace at that level, operating at that level, to we do things like masterclasses. So we have masterclasses from industry, and people will turn up for masterclasses. They will turn up for short sort of updates of CPD for the want of a better word, but there is going to be, it is really welcomed. The second offer is really welcomed by our industry, because there have been developments by other universities at that level that have been sort of 3, 6 months or even 9 months long, even though they're trying to say it's CPD and it's bite size. In reality, it's not bite size. And when people are operating within the workplace at this level, they're going to be very busy people, in a sense of wanting to do so. Whether it's in work time, whether it's in personal time, to be able to study something flexibly, that is, when I say short and sweet, I don't mean that it's wham bam in and out. It could well be that it's, could be a 40-hour module. It could be, it could be something that's, it's still quite tasty in some respects. It's still sizable. But if you was to collect something together and say, right, you have to do 5 of these units, like some people have done, they've tried to sell it under CPD and flexible learning within the workplace, they switch off, Justin. It's just not doable. They just can't do it with the level they're operating in within the workplace and the commitment. So something that can be done over a length of time that is not time bound as such. Obviously you're not going to take 3 years to do something when it should be done in 3 months. Yeah. But, so long as they've got access remotely and they can do the work at their pace, but obviously within a timeline guidance from the university, would be music to a lot of employers and individuals' ears, because they would love to do. We're seeing more and more demand of people wanting to do very specific, concentrated bits of learning that could help that individual top up their existing skills, but is also beneficial for where they are at the moment within the workplace. So very much welcome stuff like that, Justin. I think, if we look 12, and again, the people who tried this previously were pre-COVID, and I think COVID's opened a lot of eyes now in the sense of how we, from a training arm of an education per se. I mean, ourselves at UKFT, there's 5 or 6 of us who are based in the northwest, Scotland, Merseyside, Yorkshire and Humber. And, it was always right, once a month, we're all going to travel down to the UKFT offices in London. We're all going to have a massive team meeting for about 9 hours and then all travel back, which was a massive expense to the company, because it's not cheap getting trains down from the north to the south to get down for 9 o'clock. And so even with that, the way people are doing things now, online learning, flexibilities and things like that, that's fantastic. I think it really would be welcomed by professionals at that level.
Okay.
Can you just say the first one again, Justin? Sorry, if there's a second.
Yeah, so the first bit was about, instead of 2-year straight postgraduate qualifications, it becomes a year's program, and then
it's wider.
Yeah, and then there's opportunities to learn about other creative subjects alongside the subject which you're studying.
Very much similar to what I said earlier on, I think, just in a sense of course content that we're putting together at the moment with our education partners, our universities that have already sort of come to us for advice and guidance in course structure and things like that, is having that blended thing. So if you're specifically coming in to do something at a high level, manufacturing level, from a manager perspective or a supervisor, you're looking to go into those roles, then you would still have to have that element of understanding of how the thing's been designed and where it's come from and what price point and how things are going to be manufactured. And again, things around tariffs, all that business. So it's a 3-way lock. It's the manufacture, it's the design, the manufacture, and the retail and everything that goes with it. So again, so if there was something specific for fashion and textiles that was round fashion design at that higher level for a university, to have opportunities to do a module around manufacturing, and that's not them sitting on a machine and making a garment. Far from that. It's understanding the process of how they will. A lot of designers get really upset when they design something with all bells and whistles on it and it looks fantastic. But Justin, it's going to cost £3,000 to make.
Yeah.
You're not going to sell it. You're going to lose money. So they get upset then when you have somebody who is a pattern technician or a garment tech working with the designer saying, sorry, you can't do that. The price point is this, and we're going to have to lose X, Y, and Z from your design to make it profitable for everybody. Unless you're in that couture, high-level design catwalk where people are going to be paying 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 grand an artifact for a one-off. And there is a market for that. There is a market for that, but it's a very niche market. And this is why we go out to our universities and colleges to say it's not around getting everybody in on the fashion design side of things. There are very, very good technical jobs that can be done within the industry that help the industry, like garment tech, pattern tech, tailor, bespoke. I mean, again, working with the Society of Master Saddlers and working with Savile Row Bespoke, I've worked on provision and higher level apprenticeships at level 5 for bespoke tailor and cutter, which is mapped to the National Occupational Standards that are mapped to the Savile Row diploma, internal diploma, that's trained every tailor and cutter on Savile Row since 1960 something. So it's the creme de la creme. But very, very much similarities between the saddle maker to be a master saddler, to be a master cutter and tailor. They're both an 8-year span to get to your mastery. And I think that's the kind of things we need to look at as well. So again, if you're pitching these at university levels, some of the if some of the study's been done with recognised qualifications that are doing things that they should be doing, that would count towards because again, what we don't want to do is cut people off to say, right, you've just done everything from an education perspective, therefore you've not. We want to make sure that what's being taught within a classroom setting, whether that be at a private training provider, a college, a uni, that people have got the similar skill set. And I think that's the killer for us more than anything. And I would imagine that's anything across the creative industries, Justin, but predominantly fashion and textiles, to have that 3-way lock would be great. So again, if something was specific for fashion and textiles, which would be great to work with the institute on, then if it's marketed to do one thing, but to have those supporting units would be a winner for everybody, not just for the institute itself to get the cohorts they need, but if people are paying for this study, it's worthwhile study, and it gives them a better chance to help our UK PLC of fashion and textiles. That would be great. So I really appreciate both of them, but the second one more than the first one is beneficial for those in the workplace. The first one would be fantastic to say you're doing this as your specific skill, but you're gonna study and be able to have an understanding, a real in-depth understanding of the supply chain, the manufacturing processes, the retails, everything else that goes with it. It'd be fantastic. And there's nothing out there that does that, Justin, I don't think, to be honest.
Really? And so what role do you think the RCA could play with your institution in the future? How could it be more closely involved, do you think?
Well, to say that we don't have any conversations at the moment, it would be lovely to open some kind of dialogue, Justin. We are UK wide. We're not just the main trade association. So we wear 2 hats at UKFT. Obviously, if you've been on our website, you'd have seen that we're a membership organisation, predominantly for manufacturers, and we cover everything from beast to product. So really from start to finish to catwalk. We've obviously Princess Anne looks after us from a point of view of being our lead. I was very fortunate to meet her just pre-COVID when she came to the office to meet us all. So from that perspective, we're highly regarded. We're working with Eurotex. We're working with institutes in Africa at the moment. So we're doing things internationally as well as with our European colleagues. So it'd be great to have some dialogue with the institute on not just fashion and textiles related higher provision, but also the additional stuff that our